1 o'clock in the afternoon, and that can mean only one thing. It's time for your latest sports news with me, Joseph Glanville. First to cricket, and Kieran Wilson can tell us more about an historic result for England. How did it go, Kieran?
Yep, thanks Joe. It's been a fantastic day for England, who've secured their first overseas test victory since 2016. The visitors hammered Sri Lanka by 211 runs in Galle, thanks in no small part to centuries from debutant Ben Foakes and also Keaton Jennings, who hit an unbeaten 146 yesterday. Here's the moment he secured his century.
That's it. That is it. Indeed, Jennings gets his second 100. Had to wait for a while, but it was worth its wait.
Well, the win was special for Joe Root, who hasn't won a test match as captain of England for 2 years, including the 2017 Ashes. Here's what he had to say about it, as well as Keaton Jennings' 146.
It's been a brilliant 4 days cricket. I thought we played some really good stuff throughout, be it from the position we're in at lunchtime on day one. From that point, we've generally been in control of the whole game. We know how good a player he is. He's been very difficult at the top of the order in England and on some of the wickets we've played on in the recent past. So for him to come here and once he got to a score, really make it count, shows the mental toughness that he's got.
Join me later on when I'll have a little bit more reaction for you.
Great, thanks Kieran. This week there have been reports of Manchester City breaching financial fair play rules. German newspaper Der Spiegel says that City overvalued sponsorship deals to help meet the FFP regulations. Ahead of the Manchester derby, United boss Jose Mourinho refused to go into detail about the allegations facing his team's rivals.
Football potential starts with investment. After that, of course, there is the quality of the work and the quality of the organization, and I think that is untouchable. But what is behind, I cannot say.
Jurgen Klopp has told his players not to panic after Tuesday's defeat to Red Star Belgrade in the Champions League. Liverpool failed to score for only the second time this season, leaving themselves with a challenge to qualify from Group C. Ahead of this weekend's match against Fulham, Klopp says the team must put their disappointment behind them.
Things like this can happen, you never like it. They happened in the past, they happened on Tuesday, and they will happen in the future. You never like it, but in general, the shape is good of the team, played a lot of really good games.
Southampton face Watford on Saturday in their first match for 8 years without vice-chairman Les Reed. Reed joined the Saints in 2010 when the club were in the third tier. Southampton boss Mark Hughes, under pressure after a difficult start to the season, believes Reed leaves with his reputation intact.
Real shame for Les because he's done a fantastic job here during his time at the club and been able to establish this club as a fine Premier League club, and he'll walk away from the club with his head held high, I'm sure, because he's done a fantastic job here.
Arsenal progressed to the last 32 in the Europa League last night, but the result came at a cost for the Gunners. Forward Danny Welbeck was stretchered off with an ankle injury in the 0-0 draw to Sporting Lisbon. Arsenal manager Unai Emery says he's concerned by how serious the injury could be.
When you are playing football, when you are playing with the competitive matches, can happen. He's in the hospital, and the news is at the moment we are going to wait who is this injury, but we think it's a serious injury.
In the Europa League, Arsenal and Chelsea progressed to the last 16 of the group stages following victories in their games. The Scottish sides had mixed results though, as Rangers lost 4-3 to Spartak Moscow. Celtic picked up an impressive 2-1 home win against RB Leipzig in Group B, which Rodgers says is the best victory he's had at the club.
At 1-1, when they didn't deserve to be level in the game, they responded straight away and had that belief to play forward and get the goal, and it was a fantastic winning goal. So yeah, it was a great victory for us.
Over in South America, two of Argentina's football giants will face off in a historic match. It'll be the first time rivals Boca Juniors and River Plate play in the Copa Libertadores final, the tournament's equivalent of the Champions League. England boss Eddie Jones believes fly half Owen Farrell needs more protection from referees ahead of Saturday's match against New Zealand. Jones described Farrell as a warrior but insists that he doesn't get the same treatment as other players in his position, such as Ireland's Johnny Sexton. England host the All Blacks at Twickenham on the back of a slender 12-11 win against South Africa last Saturday. And another sporting news, there's been a very unlikely victory in horse racing. Racehorse Le Fremantle has lost 55 races spanning 5 years. He got his first victory at odds of 80 to 1 at Market Racing this weekend. And just following on from the incredible result in the cricket, Kieran Wilson, can you tell us more about that fantastic result?
Well, yeah, it was a fantastic result, really, for England. I mean, 2 years since they've last 2 years since they've last won an overseas test. Very impressive. Joe Root obviously under a little bit of pressure, as well as Keaton Jennings, who hit a really impressive 146. In a few of Joe Root's post-match comments, he did mention that Keaton Jennings does remind him a little bit of Alistair Cook. So there is some positives there for England. You know, a couple of new players as well in there. Also,
Keaton Jennings has come under flack recently for some of his poor form in previous games. Just what does this victory mean? His impressive 100-run haul mean for his England prospects in the future?
Oh, we've got an interview. Take him off air. Get him off air.
Great, that's all we have time for on this hourly bulletin. Be sure to tune in at 2 when we've got more sporting stories coming your way. And remember, you can keep up to date on our website, solentjournalism.co.uk, or email us at solentjournalism@solent.ac.uk. Oh, fuck. Oh, man. I used to like all the